Have you ever felt like life's been asking too much of you? Maybe you've been caught in the whirlwind of trying to do what's right all the time, every day. But as you've gotten older, perhaps you've started to wonder if that's even possible or even worth it. It's like we're all expected to be these perfect versions of ourselves, always doing the right thing, being good, being selfless. And yet, life can sometimes feel like it's pushing us down or asking for more than we can give. That's what I want to talk about today, the pressure of trying to be a good person and how sometimes that can actually hold us back. But don't worry, I'm not here to tell you to abandon kindness or empathy. No, what I'm here to discuss is something deeper. The idea that sometimes the best way to live a fulfilling, successful life, especially as you get older, might require a shift in how we view goodness. You see, there's a philosophy introduced by a man named Niccolò Machiavelli that challenges traditional views of morality. Machiavelli lived centuries ago, but his ideas still make us think. He wasn't just about making people do whatever he wanted. It was more about understanding power, people, and human nature. One of his most famous ideas is, the ends justify the means. It means that sometimes the results you're aiming for may require actions that wouldn't necessarily be seen as good in a conventional sense. But what if, in doing so, you could actually create a better life for yourself and those around you? Think about it for a moment. If you spent your entire life always trying to be the good person, how often did you ignore your own needs? How many times did you put others first and end up feeling drained, unappreciated, or even taken advantage of? I'm not saying you should stop caring for others, but maybe you need to start focusing a little more on yourself. It's time to stop wearing that mask of goodness and really ask, is it helping you or holding you back? Let me give you a real-world example to make this clearer. Imagine you've spent your entire life volunteering, helping others, making sure everyone is okay. But now, in your later years, you find that you're tired, your energy is low, you've given so much of yourself, but there's little left for you. When was the last time you took a day for yourself without feeling guilty? The truth is, this kind of goodness can be draining, especially as we age. You might feel the need to keep up that appearance of being selfless, but what if you shifted gears just a little? What if you let go of that pressure, just enough, to take care of your own well-being? This is where Machiavelli's insights come in. His view isn't about being bad or selfish. It's about knowing that sometimes the smartest thing you can do is take care of yourself first, so you're better, able to help others. It's about understanding that true success, even in the simplest forms, comes from knowing how to navigate life's challenges, not just blindly following the rules of goodness. And this isn't just for leaders or politicians, it's for anyone, especially you, someone who's spent decades learning the ins and outs of life. You've earned the right to make decisions that work for you. It's about being strategic with your time and energy, and sometimes that means stepping away from the goodness that's no longer serving you. So let's take a step back and think about the things we can change. Think about a time when you were in a situation where you had to choose between being good or being realistic with yourself. Maybe you gave more than you could handle, or you said yes when you should have said no. It's easy to slip into that trap, especially as we get older. But it's not too late to reframe how you approach life's expectations. What we're going to explore in this video is how you can break free from the mask of goodness, how to use Machiavelli's ideas to live a more intentional, strategic life, and how, by doing so, you can bring more joy and balance into your days. It's time to get real about how we're using our energy and to think about the bigger picture. We're not going to throw out kindness or compassion. We're just going to make sure that these things are coming from a place of strength, not exhaustion. Now that we've set the stage, let's move on to how we can start applying these ideas? How can we start making decisions that are both kind and strategic? How do we stop trying to be perfect and instead focus on living a life that's genuinely fulfilling, even if it's not always by the book? The first step, and the one that might feel the hardest, is learning to say no. When we try to be good all the time, we're always saying yes. Yes to others' requests. Yes to obligations we don't really have the energy for. Yes to situations that drain us. But the truth is, saying no is often the kindest thing you can do. Not just for yourself, but for the people around you as well. When you say yes out of obligation, you're not truly helping anyone. But when you say no, you're giving yourself the space to recharge, to make better decisions, and ultimately to be more effective in everything you do. Think about how different your day would feel if you had the confidence to say no when something isn't right for you. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you're taking control of your life and your energy. It means you're acknowledging that sometimes the best way to help others is to make sure you're at your best, not at your breaking point. And remember, saying no isn't about shutting people out or rejecting them. It's about being honest and setting boundaries, something that is absolutely necessary, especially as you age. Setting boundaries helps you protect your time and energy so you can focus on what truly matters. Now, with that in mind, let's dive into the second idea we're going to explore together. How you can shift from constantly trying to please others to focusing on what you need in order to thrive. As we continue, I want you to think about how often you've put others' needs ahead of your own. It's something that most of us do naturally, especially as we get older. We've spent so much time caring for family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers that sometimes we forget to care for the most important person in our lives, ourselves. It's easy to fall into the habit of putting others first because, well, that's what society tells us we should do. But in doing so, we often end up neglecting our own well-being, which can lead to burnout, resentment, and ultimately a sense of dissatisfaction. This is where Machiavelli's philosophy really comes into play. One of his key ideas is that to be successful in any part of life, you have to understand the balance between your own needs and the needs of others. It's about using your energy wisely, being strategic about how you give, and making sure that you're not emptying your own cup in the process. Because when you're running on empty, you're no good to anyone, including yourself. Now, this doesn't mean you stop caring for others. It just means you start recognizing the moments when you've given all you can, and that it's okay to step back. It's okay to focus on replenishing your own energy. Think about it this way. If you've spent a lifetime being the caretaker, the one people rely on, you've built up a great reputation for being dependable. But now it's time to ask yourself, who's taking care of you? This doesn't need to be a dramatic shift. It could be as simple as taking a few moments every day to do something for yourself. Maybe it's reading a book, going for a walk, or even just sitting in silence for a few minutes. You could also start saying no to obligations that no longer bring you joy or purpose. By learning to focus on your own needs, you'll be able to offer a better version of yourself to others when the time comes. And that's the key. Being available for others doesn't require you to sacrifice your own happiness and peace of mind. Machiavelli, despite his controversial reputation, wasn't suggesting that you be ruthless or unkind. What he was really advocating for was self-preservation and understanding your own value. After all, how can you contribute to the world if you don't have the energy or mental clarity to do so? How can you be there for your loved ones if you're not taking care of yourself first? Now you might be wondering, how does this relate to the world around you, especially now that you're in a season of life where many things are changing? Maybe you're dealing with health challenges, or perhaps you're thinking about your legacy and what's next. The truth is, Machiavelli's teachings are not about manipulating others or playing people against each other. They're about navigating the complex world with awareness. It's about understanding that to live a fulfilled life, you need to take ownership of your path, your choices, and your well-being. For example, think about how you might approach your social circle. Over time, relationships change. Some friends or family members may not need you as much as they once did, and others may need more from you than you can give. Instead of trying to please everyone, consider where you should invest your energy. Who brings joy into your life? Who can you rely on for support? And most importantly, how do you ensure that your relationships are based on mutual respect and care, not just you fulfilling a role or meeting others' expectations? In your personal life, this might mean taking a hard look at your daily routine and deciding what really matters. For example, maybe there are tasks or responsibilities that you've been holding on to simply because they've always been part of your routine. But ask yourself, do they still serve you? Do they still bring you joy or purpose? If not, it might be time to let go. Freeing up your time and energy for things that truly bring value to your life is one of the most empowering choices you can make. Another aspect of Machiavelli's advice is understanding how to read people and situations. As we age, we accumulate a wealth of experiences and insights. We begin to understand people's motives more clearly and can often tell when someone is taking advantage of our kindness or when they truly need help. This ability to discern can be incredibly valuable in relationships, especially when you're deciding where to allocate your time and energy. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it's okay to step back and reassess the situation. You don't owe anyone an explanation, and you certainly don't need to sacrifice your well-being just to avoid disappointing someone. The second part of learning to live more strategically is about aligning your actions with your true desires. Machiavelli would encourage you to look at the bigger picture. What do you truly want to achieve at this stage of your life? What brings you fulfillment? It could be as simple as focusing on your health, cultivating meaningful relationships, or pursuing a long-held dream. By aligning your actions with your own values, you'll naturally create a life that feels more authentic and purposeful. But to do this, you need to let go of the illusion that life is always about making everyone else happy. Sometimes living a good life means making difficult choices, being honest with yourself, and carving out time for what matters most to you. And trust me, it's okay to put yourself at the top of that list. So let's start thinking about how we can begin to make these changes. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into practical ways to apply these principles to your daily life. But for now, just remember this. It's okay to step out from behind that mask of goodness. It's okay to prioritize your own needs, because when you do, you'll be in a better position to help others, live a life that feels true to who you are, and experience more joy in the process. Now that we've started to peel back the layers of the goodness mask, let's dive into some practical ways to embrace Machiavelli's perspective and make it work for you in your day-to-day life. We're not talking about being manipulative or cruel. We're talking about being strategic, about living with purpose, aligning your actions with your values, and using your time and energy in the most effective way possible. It's about taking control of your narrative and choosing how to move through the world without feeling like you have to meet everyone else's expectations. Machiavelli understood that the ability to remain composed in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful tools a person can have. When you stay calm and silent, you don't give away your emotions or intentions. You can listen, evaluate, and then act with purpose. And that's an incredibly valuable skill, especially when dealing with complex situations or relationships. Finally, as we think about applying these principles to your daily life, it's important to realize that strategic living is not about manipulation or being unkind. It's about being intentional, taking control of your choices, and finding balance in how you give your time, energy, and love. It's about making sure that in caring for others, you're also caring for yourself. And it's about recognizing that it's okay to step away from the traditional idea of goodness if it's no longer serving you. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about living in a way that allows you to thrive, not just survive. And when you do that, you'll not only have more energy for the people you care about, but you'll also experience more joy and fulfillment in your own life. Remember, there's no rule book for how to live a meaningful life. The best thing you can do is stay true to yourself and choose a path that works for you. And as we continue on this journey, know that every step you take toward understanding yourself and living strategically is a step toward creating a life that truly reflects who you are and what you want to achieve. Next time we're together, we'll dive deeper into how these strategies can help you live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and joy, no matter your age. But for now, I want you to sit with these ideas, reflect on them, and see where they might fit in your own life. You're never too old to change the way you live and to start making choices that align with your true self. So take a deep breath and know that you have the power to live life on your terms. As we continue, I want to talk about how this shift from trying to be the good person all the time to living a life that's more strategic and true to yourself can lead to a much deeper sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. Many of us have been taught that being good means always putting others before ourselves. But as we've discussed, this can lead to exhaustion, frustration, and sometimes even resentment. And that's exactly what we're trying to avoid as we navigate the later stages of life. Living strategically means understanding that it's okay to focus on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a way that allows you to be your best self for everyone around you. When you make self-care and self-preservation a priority, you create more space for genuine connection, and your actions become more meaningful. The good you do comes from a place of strength and choice, not obligation or burnout. The beauty of this shift is that it allows you to truly enjoy life's simpler pleasures. You don't have to be constantly on the go pleasing others or stretching yourself thin. Instead, you can create space for the things that really bring you joy. This might mean more time spent with your family, diving into a hobby you've neglected, or simply enjoying quiet moments on your own. You're giving yourself the opportunity to experience life in a way that feels both authentic and fulfilling. Here's a powerful thought. Living strategically doesn't require you to cut anyone out of your life. In fact, when you start taking care of yourself and setting those boundaries, you're actually doing the people around you a favor. Imagine how much more you'll have to offer when you're well-rested, well-fed, and emotionally fulfilled. You'll be able to give more of yourself, but in a way that's sustainable. Now let's consider the idea of personal growth as a continuing journey. If we look at life from the lens of Machiavellian insight, personal growth becomes about mastering our own circumstances. It's about developing a deeper understanding of our own needs, our own motivations, and how we interact with the world around us. It's about growth, yes, but it's also about wisdom, learning when to push forward, when to take a step back, and when to shift our approach entirely. Think about the skills and lessons you've accumulated over your lifetime. You've probably learned what works for you and what doesn't. You've had time to reflect on the people and experiences that have shaped you. But as you move forward, it's also important to stay open to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new ways of living. Growth doesn't stop when you hit a certain age. In fact, it can accelerate because you have the wisdom and perspective to make better choices. This is where the strategic side of life becomes really powerful. By understanding yourself and your needs, you can actively design a life that's aligned with your values and goals. What does that look like for you? Maybe it's scaling back your commitments to make more time for things that truly bring you peace. Maybe it's redefining your social circle, ensuring that you spend time with people who lift you up, not drain your energy. Or perhaps it's exploring new interests or passions that you never had the chance to pursue earlier in life. One thing I've seen in the lives of many people as they get older is the freedom that comes with choosing what to focus on. No longer bound by societal expectations or the demands of others, they start to live life on their own terms. And this freedom is incredibly empowering. It's the freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. This brings me to the idea of legacy. As we age, we naturally start thinking more about the impact we've had on the world and the people around us. But instead of focusing on how to be good in a traditional sense, the way society often expects us to be, it's about creating a legacy that reflects the real, authentic version of yourself. When you live strategically, you begin to focus on what truly matters to you, not just what others expect of you. And that's where your legacy begins. In the choices you make today, based on who you are and what you truly value. This could mean creating something meaningful with your time, a project, a piece of art, a book, or perhaps even a cause you've always wanted to support. It could mean fostering deep relationships with your loved ones, leaving behind memories that are rich with love, understanding, and authenticity. Whatever your legacy looks like, it will be the result of living strategically by aligning your actions with your true self and your deeper goals. Living strategically, according to Machiavelli's ideas, isn't about abandoning kindness, love, or compassion. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best way to express those values is by taking care of yourself first. By being strategic with your energy and your actions, you're able to show up in a way that is more authentic, more sustainable, and more impactful. Let's pause here for a moment. Have you thought about the ways in which you could apply some of these principles to your own life? How could you shift your thinking to focus more on what you truly need and less on the expectations of others? Remember, this isn't about rejecting goodness. It's about redefining it in a way that serves you and your happiness and that ultimately allows you to show up as your best self for those you care about. The final key to embracing this mindset is realizing that you don't need to do it all. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to please everyone. As you go forward, remember that life is not a series of obligations to others. It's a journey of learning, growing, and choosing how to spend your time, energy, and love in ways that truly reflect who you are. In the end, embracing Machiavelli's insight that the ends justify the means taking control of your life, making intentional choices, and understanding that it's okay to put yourself first when necessary. By doing so, you'll find that not only do you feel more fulfilled, but the quality of your relationships, your contributions, and your experiences will improve as well. So, as we wrap up today, I want you to reflect on one thing. What's one small change you can make today that will allow you to live more strategically? Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you, or maybe it's carving out more time for yourself. Whatever it is, remember that living on your own terms, authentically, intentionally, and strategically, is the key to finding fulfillment, joy, and purpose at any stage of life. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found something valuable in this conversation. If you have thoughts or experiences you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it and subscribe for more content that helps you live a life of purpose, power, and fulfillment. Here's to living your best life no matter your age. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want to remind you that the journey you're on is yours to navigate, and it doesn't have to be dictated by external pressures or outdated ideals of goodness. Living strategically, as we've discussed, is about being conscious of your choices and understanding that your well-being comes first. It's about setting boundaries, reflecting on your desires, and embracing change in a way that empowers you rather than drains you. By learning to prioritize yourself, you create the space to give more to others in a way that is sustainable and authentic. This doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or your kindness. It simply means recognizing that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is take care of your own needs first. When you do that, you become more capable of supporting the people you love without depleting your own reserves. Now imagine looking back on your life one day. What do you want to remember? Do you want to recall a life of constant sacrifice, living for everyone else at the expense of your own happiness? Or do you want to look back on a life where you took charge, made decisions that honored your true self, and lived with purpose, a life where you created space for joy, peace, and meaningful connections? The choice is yours. Machiavelli's insights were never about cruelty or manipulation. They were about understanding the complexities of human nature, navigating the world with intention, and knowing that sometimes success comes not from following the rules, but from knowing when to break them. It's about being strategic with your time, your energy, and your relationships. It's about living in a way that allows you to truly thrive rather than simply survive. In closing, remember this. You're never too old to make changes. You're never too late to start prioritizing your own happiness and well-being. Each day is a new opportunity to make choices that align with your true desires, to set boundaries that honor your needs, and to live in a way that feels authentic to who you are. As you move forward, keep in mind that self-care is not selfish. It's essential. By taking care of yourself, you're not only enriching your own life, but you're also creating a ripple effect that impacts the people around you. The more you honor your own needs, the more you have to offer to others. And when you live with intention and purpose, you'll find that life becomes not only more manageable, but also more fulfilling. I hope this conversation has inspired you to take a closer look at how you're living and to think about ways you can start making small shifts toward a life that feels more balanced and purposeful. The most important thing is to start, even if it's just one small step today. You deserve to live a life that is full of joy, peace, and meaning, no matter your age. And remember, you don't need to wear the mask of goodness to be a great person. You just need to be true to yourself. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on living with intention, happiness, and fulfillment at any age. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any experiences you've had in making these shifts in your own life. Don't forget to leave a comment. Your perspective is always valued here. Here's to living your best life, embracing change, and taking charge of your future. You've got this.